Tell me a little bit about the psychology of an investor.
It could be like investor psychosis.
Okay.
So investor psychosis, there's a couple of things. First, there's do-it-yourselfers. And then there's like hands-on and hands-off people. People have to do everything themselves. And that's frequently the traditional residential investor is the person who's very hands-on. They got a property from their family, inherited it, or they got a deal on a property next door, down the street, or somehow they came into a property. They go work on it and they manage it. And through the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, that was really the way it is. Now it's becoming much more difficult for the owner-operator to, at least here in California, for the owner-operator to manage efficiently and effectively. Some are very good at it, but the laws make it much more restrictive and prohibitive for them, and the legal aspects can be very detrimental to them if they get caught by the wrong tenant who runs them through the ringer. But that's here in California. Some other states too. Many states are not like that. Anyway, that was kind of the psychology of people, is that they would, get a house and they would, or have their first house and they rent it and then they move into their next house, etc. So it's very hands-on. Like we had an uncle that Uncle Jan, that had property. He's very hands-on. So he sold all his property in California. He moved all his properties up to Idaho, and then he bought a plane. And so he flew to Idaho every week to go manage his properties. Me, I had a property that was 10 minutes away from my house, and I didn't see it for 2 years. I'm a hands-off investor, and I recognize that. So I can buy anywhere, and it doesn't matter to me. But then Jan was a very hands-on investor. Didn't matter where it was. He had to have his hands in it and fixing things and doing all kinds of stuff. So when I look at investment as a hands-off investor, I look at it as if I'm paying somebody to do the management, do the repairs, and it still makes money, then it's a good deal for me. It's if I have to do the management and the repairs for it to make money, then it's not a good deal for me.
Right.
The other psychology, many people feel like they have to be in the workings of it. They feel like they have to be doing the management, like that's part of running the business. But realistically, if you take yourself out of that, then you can operate a business. You can own a business. You can own a McDonald's without having to work in the McDonald's every day. Same thing. You can own a residential property without having to be the property manager and the toilet cleaner, etc. Now, another thing that I think is really important is that a lot of people hold on to their properties. They get emotionally attached to them. So, and possibly the worse that they are, there's kind of a level. The properties, they get really bad, and then they want to get rid of them. But up until then, they get emotionally attached to them, and then they're like, well, kind of the devil I know rather than the devil I don't. So I don't want to exchange into another property because I know this one. I know all its quirks. I know all its problems. And even though they spent hundreds and hundreds of hours and tens of thousands of dollars on the property, they're not really willing to get rid of it for something newer, brighter, shinier, because even though it's on paper, it would perform the same because they know it's kind of the devil they know, like I said, the devil they know rather than the devil they don't. But they get emotionally attached to it, and so they're hesitant to switch and change. Obviously, there's quite a large cost to switching and changing, so it shouldn't be done haphazardly. But looking at an investment and at your portfolio, look at it and go, okay, does it make sense for me to get out of this property and solve all the hassles and headaches, and then move that money into something else where the money can make me money? So you're working from a more managerial standpoint rather than a hands-on and hands-in. So anyway.
Thank you.